Well, the London Declaration was very important for one thing, was getting the pharmaceutical industry's buy-in, getting the philanthropic organisations like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation more closely linked with WHO, the World Health Organization, and all those things have worked. The donations have increased hugely. The World Health Organization set a roadmap in consultation with others to get, for example, drug treatment coverage for children in certain regions of the world to treat whether lymphatic filariasis or soil-transmitted helminths or schistosome infections, bilharzia, up to a certain level. And steady, continuous progress has been made. Now, where the London Centre can contribute here is that a very simple question: how are the goals and the roadmap worked out? Are they adequate to control the morbidity induced by these diseases, or mortality in some cases, in the developing countries? That's a quantitative problem. You have to work out drug coverage, who to treat, how often to treat. In the past, understandably, this has been a matter of opinion. So you put experts in a room in Geneva and they sit there for 2 or 3 days working out what the policy should be. Our view is different. Opinion's important, but calculation is also important. And that involves mathematics, statistics, epidemiological work, demography, how many children are there, what is their birth and survival rates in a given population. And so what we try to do is to put scientific rigour onto defining these policies. And the next stage, if you look at the progress, is gently persuading the World Health Organization to rely more on scientific methodology in policy formulation than consensus opinion. And that can be a challenge. But progress good so far, but a long way to go. So if I focus just on one example, the schistosome parasites, which affect hundreds of millions of people, both in sub-Saharan Africa and Southeast Asia and China, quite a cause of morbidity. They do a lot of damage to a child. WHO has a target of 75% drug treatment coverage per year for children in endemic areas. That actually is probably not enough. It's not just children. If you only treat children, the adults and the very young children are a reservoir of infection, so you will have to continue treating children forever. So we've argued very strongly and put scientific evidence in the published world to point out that you will never solve these problems if you just continue with that policy. And so, in essence, we've suggested community-based adult and preschool age children treatment as well, and you can show by calculation that this could be very effective. It also tells you how long you've got to treat for, what level of coverage you've got to get to, and that is useful again for countries in policy formulation. Well, one of the interesting things is drugs you have to continue to treat. Why? That's quite an interesting question, medically and scientifically. It's because these parasites, such as the worms, the schistosome worms, are very sophisticated. They have teguments covered with lots of secretory glands, and they modulate the human immune system. So when you're treated with a drug which clears the parasites, you're then susceptible to reinfection. You don't have acquired immunity. With many antigenically stable viruses, once you've cleared the infection, you're immune for life. Now, with schistosomes, the baboon is a very good model of human schistosomes, and just recently the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and NIH have been supporting, over a long period of time, vaccine development for bilharzia, or the schistosomes. And this is led by Professor Afzal Siddiqui in Texas in the US, who was trained in this country a long time ago. And the early experimental results in baboons are very exciting indeed. So it looks to be possible to have a set of antigens plus an adjuvant to create a vaccine which is very effective in primates. The next stage is going to be challenging, because you then, in the world of vaccine manufacture, there are probably 4 major companies worldwide left. You have to persuade one of them to take on this manufacturing, which will cost, and development, which will cost hundreds of millions of pounds, for a market where the return is not obvious. And this is where the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, National Institutes of Health, the Wellcome Trust become very important, because these are big organisations who can afford to help in the development, even when there's no profit at the end for the vaccine. And those discussions are underway at the moment.